campus of Paulsboro High School in Paulsboro, New Jersey. Comcast Sports presents high school football this afternoon. It's the South Jersey Group 1 semifinals as Paulsboro hosts Glassboro. Hello again, everyone. Rob Christ along with my partner, Shawn Leary. Cold, crisp afternoon here at Paulsboro High School. 36 degrees, winds approaching 20 miles per hour. That will certainly play a role in today's outcome. Shawn, these are two teams that are very well versed with one another. Of course, they have met each of the last 3 years in the South Jersey Championship game. Some people are arguing that, in fact, this is the South Jersey Group 1 Championship. No question, should be a good one.
Well, I think they got a pretty good point, pretty strong point, as a matter of fact. These are, let's face it, these are the two most storied programs when you look at Group 1. My apologies to Woodbury. I know they've really had a say in the factors over the years. However, these are really the two class programs right now in the Tri-County Conference and also in the Colonial Conference when you look at Group 1. And what Paulsboro really brings is this hometown atmosphere. You're going to see the crowd today, real big crowd over here. They know this field, and I really believe the wind plays a factor in this game because Paulsboro knows this wind coming right off the river. They know a little bit about that. I think that may play a factor.
For the Glassboro Bulldogs, they are led by Ricky Tunstall. He is a threat receiving the football, and there is no question that this win today may slow down his progress.
Well, no doubt. I mean, this is a guy who has 28 catches. Every time, a quarter of the times that he touches the football, he goes in for a touchdown. 7 touchdowns, 28 catches. Also, he's able to make that big play in the punt return. That's if he's able to hold on to the football. It's going to be difficult for punt returners today, but Tunstall's a guy, you got to get the ball in his hands some way, shape, or form.
On the defensive side of the ball, Gerald Hodges, he does it all. He is one of the finest defensive players in the state of New Jersey, and some would argue in the nation. Now, of course, we always talk about Hodges on the offensive side of the ball. He has rushed for almost 2,000 yards in his fine career. He will be a force on both sides of the football.
Well, he's a guy that's supposed to play running back this year, and they've really had a problem keeping their quarterbacks healthy. And what Hodges has now done is gone out of that quarterback position where sometimes he struggled last year. And what he's really been able to do is playing running back, coming out of the backfield, catching balls. He's really developed into a quarterback, understanding all the other different positions and how that really look at it when you're looking at it from a quarterback standpoint, I think has helped him. So he's really matured. He's become a better quarterback, and he's really been judicious with the football. Of course, he can run. I mean, this is a kid who can light it up down the sidelines, get you some big points, but he's really combined both the pass and the run, and he's become a complete quarterback.
Well, again, these two teams have met in the championship game in each of the last 3 seasons. Paulsboro winning 2 of 3. Last year it was Glassboro victorious 24-7. 3 years ago it was an overtime thriller right here at Paulsboro High School. These two teams are very evenly matched. Don't be surprised if we have another outcome just like that. Stick around. We'll have the kickoff for you in just a moment. What's that? Welcome back to Paulsboro High School, Bennett Field here in Gibbstown, New Jersey. This is a game that has been much talked about locally. You can see the temperature will certainly play a factor this afternoon.
Hosting this great reception this morning.
Taking a look at the keys for today's game for Glassboro. They need more Tunstall. Just get the ball into his hands, try to make him work, get him involved into the offense. They can't rely on just the running game. They really have to gang tackle Hodges. I mean, this is a guy who's really going to break some tackles for you, and he can turn a tackle into a quick 6. And Dobson needs to be a factor. As a big kid with a good, strong foot, you know, they can match Paulsboro's terrific kicking game coached by Coach Antonini. So, I mean, that's something they need to look for Paulsboro. They need to protect the football. Glassboro is good at creating turnovers. They have to own the middle, force Timmy Breaker to throw the ball to the outside. You don't want him looking over the middle. And Glassboro is not punting the ball much. I think they need to apply some pressure. Paulsboro has always put a great deal of attention into special teams. And with Glassboro not punting much because of such a high-powered offense, that might be a unit with the wind blowing a lot today. You might be able to get a turnover. I think both teams should look at that and put that into their game plan today.
Dobson to kick it away to Tilden and Hodges, and the ball falls off of the tee right before the kick.
It's blowing pretty good. Rob. I mean, you're looking at, I don't know if we can get a shot of it, but the wind coming off those stacks there. You have Valero right next to Bennett Field here. You see the flags, and
this is as windy as I can recall here at Paulsboro. I mean, we've done a lot of games here where the wind has certainly played a factor, but this is as windy as any game that we have done.
Now the wind is blowing across the field from the Glassboro sideline to the Paulsboro sideline. There you see the Bulldogs, a home victory last year in the Group 1 final, 24-7.
So Dobson now will have the ball held for him. Again, it will be Tilden and Hodges, and we are underway. A good kick will back up Hodges. He catches it over his shoulder right before the goal line, and now they will rule that he went across the goal line with his momentum, and therefore it will be ruled a touchback.
Dobson has done a very good job this year for this team. They average, the Glassboro Bulldogs, the opponent's average starting position on their own 12-yard line. He's kicked it from the 6 to the 10 in great coverage 20 times out of those 58 kickoffs. Had 4 touchbacks. He can add 1 to his total. Only 18 of the 58 have been outside of the 15. So not only is he getting the job done on kickoffs, but terrific coverage.
Willie Anderson split wide left. He caught a touchdown pass last week against Pennsville. And out of the eye will be Hodges and this Paulsboro offense. First play from scrimmage, a handoff right up the middle. And we didn't talk much about this, Shawn, but Glassboro certainly has a vaunted defense.
Yeah, Paulsboro known for its defense, only 2 touchdowns allowed by the starting unit, but Glassboro is just as good.
Gilchrist, Pierce, Phillips, Savinia, and Gataski up front. Gaines, Carter, Hodges, Love, and Grimes is good you can get in the skills department for this Red Raiders offense. Second down and about 8. Hodges keeps, fumbles, loose football picked up. Glassboro on the way to the end zone, touchdown. Tim Breaker scoops up the Hodges fumble, and Glassboro strikes early.
This is one area of the game. You talked about the defense, and this is what happens. You get to that quarterback in a hurry, you see the hand come in there, pop the football out, just in the spot for Breaker to pick it up.
That may have been
one of the keys of the game was being able to protect the football on offense.
That may have been Larry Johnson who knocked it out of Hodges' hand. Typically when it is this cold, the football gets slick. Hodges yielding the turnover. Dobson on to attempt the point after. His kick is up, and his kick is good. So 11-14 remaining in this first quarter, and before many of the fans have settled in, Glassboro on top 7-0 without their offense hitting the field.
See, sometimes, Rob, it's almost like mechanical in games. You expect and you're doing things, handoffs are done in a certain way, and you're just not getting used to being hit that early in this type of formation. You look, you're used to getting to the outside, and all of a sudden you're getting hit. So that speed from Glassboro coming up, and you're not almost absorbing the hit. You know, you're not ready for it, and all of a sudden you get a hand that comes in there and pokes it out. You're just not used to it. That's what speed does for a defense. It creates turnover for that reason. You don't expect the hit to come as quick as it does, whether it's in the play or just a guy coming up and making a hit in the play. And for that, you can't secure the football enough, and that's why Glassboro's defense, that's why Paulsboro's defense is good at creating turnovers and always has been because of that speed. And that's why it's so important to really be dedicated in your thinking through the week that you need to handle the football properly.
Dobson kicks it away once again. It's Hodges, this time much shorter, takes it at the 10-yard line. Hodges tripped up and brought down at the 28-yard line. A nice open field tackle by James Brown.
Yeah, Brown comes down, makes a hit low. That's where you want to try to get Hodges. You try to take him upstairs, and he's gonna put a hit on you.
There you see the D-line of the Bulldogs, James, Scruggs, Hicks, Topping, and Green. Bell and Gaines, your linebacking crew. And your secondary, Tunstall, Baxter, Breaker, and Gadsden. Of course, it was Breaker out of the safety spot to scoop that up and put Glassboro on the scoreboard. And up right up the middle, about the 3-yard gain. Carter, the ball carrier. Now, you know, one thing that you can't discount at this point also, Shawn, you talk about, of course, this concept of this mechanical reaction initially is the nerves factor. They understand, and I think both teams, whether they want to admit it or not, feel like this is the championship game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They know they know what the magnitude of what this is, and they can't look past either Haddon Heights or Pennsgrove. But you get geeked up if you're playing against Glassboro and you're at Paulsboro or vice versa.
Hodges again will hand off, and looks like Carter, the ball carrier, brought down about the 35-yard line. So 3rd down and about 3.
A good play calling for Paulsboro to come out and just try to get a couple handouts, because I think Hodges now, you know, it's instinctive to try and make something up. When you make a mistake, you want to make it up, and you really need poise in that position. And what he's done is let the game come to him. This allows you to get into the game. You're not forcing something early on to try and make up for it.
Again, 3rd down and 3. And the handoff, a little end around, trying to stretch it out, able to get outside the tackle, still on his feet, down the sideline. On his way, Marcus Gaines finally knocked out of bounds. Well, Marcus Gaines did a nice job, eluded one tackler behind the line of scrimmage, and then it was off to the races.
Yeah, defensive end is not able to contain. He gets the corner, and then watch the speed. Nice job of being able to get past Breaker. Not a good angle by Breaker, and then watch Gaines tickle the sideline as he gets down for a big gainer. Now Paulsboro in business. You could say, again, not forcing everything. Get a little play there. Get you some big yardage to get yourself back in.
1st down and 10. Paulsboro in Glassboro territory. About the 25-yard line. High formation, Hodges hands off, right up the gut. And a pickup for Gaines once again.
Tackle number 5, Christopher Baxter to the field, 2nd.
Baxter on the tackle. 2nd down and 6 for Paulsboro. And obviously, this is something that Paulsboro would like to see as a touchdown, but as importantly, on the successive drive.
Yeah, you eat up a little bit of clock, you gain some momentum. I think one of the areas that they really liked their chances was along the offensive and defensive lines and in the trenches. They just now have to work down the field as they are.
Again, out of the eye, Hodges keeps. Strung outside and brought down from behind. That's a fine play by LaRonde Gaines.
Yeah, the senior 5'10", 180, just getting on the back of Hodges. You have to make sure you bring him down. We talked about being able to gang tackle this guy and don't allow him to break out. But Gaines plays this perfectly, not allowing him to get to the outside. Yeah, this is the same play that caused that fumble. And you see here, trying to work off of Gaines. He takes the initial stiff arm and holds his ground. Nice attempt. It's going to bring a 3rd, looks about 4.
Dual receivers split left for Hodges, working out of the eye. It's Gaines and Carter, and we have some movement. Looked like it may have been Gutaski.
Prior to the snap, dead ball, full start, offense 71.
And that certainly changes the dynamic. Interestingly, the referee spotting who made the offense, which is unusual in high school football. But Shawn, given this win, there's no question this is 4-down territory.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you could attempt a field goal here. In fact, Coach Antonini says if you can learn to work with it, the win can be your friend. And he knows. I mean, this is a guy that coaches all the kickers around in this area.
Flipper Anderson split wide left, handoff right up the gut. And again, it's going to be Carter. We'll get back to about the 21-yard line. So not even back to prior to the penalty. There you see here Neilio 7th year, career mark of 62-14, has been quite successful here as the skipper of this Bulldogs football program.
Yeah, fantastic job by Coach Nealio. He's a good guy. He got a chance to know his family. His dad coached in the Westville Midgets for an ungodly amount of years.
4th down. Hodges gains, strings it outside, and he's tackled from behind. It's Tim Breaker to shut that down. Pretty interesting. I think that's quite telling, the fact that they're going to run the ball there. Hodges is someone who is an adept passer, but that tells you how much the wind is playing a role in the decision making.
Yeah, I think as the game goes up, you warm up a little bit, they'll decide on throwing a little more, especially in that type of situation. Good job that time by Breaker, staying at home, taking a good angle, not allowing Gaines to get to the outside.
1st down and 10 for the Bulldogs. Their first time on offense. Breaker, your quarterback, working out of the shotgun. He fakes and keeps. Breaker into the secondary, still on his feet, very close to a 1st down. Well, even before the game, Breaker was geeked up, ready for this football game. He's already had an impact. Take a look at their offensive line. Sands, Topping, Anderson, Scruggs, and Ellis. Bulldogs, good hands, people. Davis, Bell, Gadsden, Tunstall, and Green. Breaker did make it to the 1st down marker. 1st and 10. Out of the eye, Breaker hands. And slipping up on the play, trying to cut back inside, was Stephen Davis.
Yeah, Breaker, I mean, this is a kid, and it's kind of like Hodges, where we talked about in the open, where Hodges played the position. I mean, they actually split him out at wide receiver to start the year. They had him at running back, and he really learned a lot.
Take a look at the D-line of Paulsboro. Carter, Curl, Pierce, Gilchrist, and Grimes. Greenwald and Lee, your linebacking core. And in your secondary, Tilden, Hodges, McLean, and Gaines. So 2nd down. Call it 10. And again, a nice little pickup here for Stephen Davis. Little counter will pick up about 4, so 3rd down. You mentioned that Breaker likes to throw the football, does have the wind to his back here, so don't be surprised if they put this in the air.
Well, it's a slight wind going to his back. It's really coming from the Glassboro sideline to the Paulsboro sideline. But you're right, there's as hard as it's blowing, any slight movement into your face is going to make it difficult.
3rd and 5. Again, Breaker working out of the shotgun. Twins left. Breaker sets up the screen pass, dumps inside, and this will be enough for the 1st down as he finds P.J. James, and James breaks out of the scrum. James on his way. Touchdown.
P.J. James for touchdown.
James does an excellent job of just keeping his feet moving. The 6-foot sophomore breaks a few tackles, and bottom line, Paulsboro has to do a better job coming up and taking the hits. You know, just coming up and throwing your shoulder or arms in there is not going to get it done. You have to come in and wrap up. We talked about the gang tackling on Hodges. Well, that time, Paulsboro needs to take a page out of its own book and do a little gang tackling itself.
61-yard touchdown reception for James. Dobson's extra point attempt is good, and Glassboro stunning Paulsboro and its fans here. 14-0, 5:14 remaining.
First off, that's a terrific pass by Breaker. I mean, it's nothing much more than 4 or 5 yards in front of you. But he had to get it over the defensive line. I mean, he puts it in the perfect position for James to turn it upfield. And just a poor job of tackling by the interior of that Paulsboro defensive line, the linebackers and also the safeties coming up, not doing a good job at all.
Hodges had an opportunity there, tried to wrap him up and literally bounced off of him. Again, it's this cold weather, a little bit tougher to hold on. And credit James with that 2nd and 3rd effort. And Paulsboro has to scratch his head at this point as they're quickly down here 14-0, despite Glassboro being on offense just one time. Dobson to kick it away. Much shorter this time, and he finds Tilden. Tilden will take at the 6. Tilden strings it outside, now back up the middle, and he is down at about the 21-yard line. It may have been a loose ball, but if that's the case, Paulsboro recovers, and Paulsboro right now is frankly struggling.
You get back to James, he's a kid that's probably you heard of his brother Corey, who played on this Glassboro team. If you watch this Group 1 championship over the years, here you see Glassboro scoring 395 to 31. Look at the average. I mean, they have really put it to some of those Classic Division teams, and I think Glassboro doesn't get a fair shake as you look at Paulsboro's as well. Glassboro doesn't get a fair shake because of people talking about the competition they face, but they just blew those teams out of games.
Well, again, you look at those numbers, and Glassboro's put up almost 50% of that season total that the defense of Paulsboro has yielded this year in a little over 6.5 minutes. Second down for the Red Raiders. And we only need to go back 1 week, Shawn, to say that there's a lot of football to be played.
Oh yeah, plenty of time. Woodbury jumped out to a huge lead in this Group 1 tournament. And Pensgrove was able to rally in that game.
Hand off again right up the middle. And Carter will be shy of the first down.
The problem with that is Glassboro's defense being so stingy. That's why I talked about the importance of handling the football. That one touchdown can mean the difference in this game. And certainly you don't want to give that up on a mistake. So far, a couple of mistakes, a poor tackling and the fumble. Now Paulsboro just, again, like you said, still plenty of time in this game. This is a good offense with good skills. We already saw a big run by Gaines earlier. They just need to stay composed and, again, not force things. Hodges needs to be judicious with the football.
2 tight ends set. Hodges just drives forward, and Hodges will get a big chunk. That's one of the largest carries of the day, and he just burrowed his way forward.
Michigan is so strong. He's got great speed, and we talked about him along with Aaron Hayward for Pensgrove early in the year. Shawnee Kirsty was also going to Rutgers, and some of the other great quarterbacks / running backs who have come out of this particular area. And what makes Hodges so special is he's big as just about any of those guys. However, he's matches that with tremendous speed.
1st and 10, working out of the eye. Hodges keeps, and now he'll be punished behind the line of scrimmage. And Hodges is operating with much less room than he is accustomed to.
He saw Joshua Bell and Damian Green, and what those guys do is they get to the edge as good as anybody. It's hard to beat Glassboro east and west. You really have to try and pound this team, and Paulsboro's tried to do that. Trying to get some yards up the middle. They've been somewhat successful there, and I don't think they can get away from that.
2nd down, they give him forward progress to the line of scrimmage. 10, 2:35 and counting remaining in this first quarter. South Jersey Group 1 championship game here on Copcast. Out of the eye. Hodges again will keep. Look to cut it inside. Spins off one tackle and then is punished by 3 or 4 Bulldogs.
Now, we talked about Paulsboro, who they have. One of the guys they don't have, and a lot of people always talk about the transfers that come into Paulsboro. They had a pretty big transfer that left Paulsboro, and Darius Qualls, the big threat on the outside, played wide receiver. And I think that's where they really miss him in the passing game. And in these situations, Darius Qualls would have been split out at wide receiver, a big target of 6'8". Now you got 3rd and long.
3rd down and 10. Inside of 2 minutes left in this first quarter. Hodges, deep drop, he'll just swing it out. and he finds his receiver in Gaines, and Gaines is pounded well behind the line of scrimmage.
See, right now, Paulsboro just doesn't have the confidence to go down the field, setting up the screens, and if you start to become predictable, especially with this Glassboro unit, it's going to be a tough day.
And Paulsboro will be forced to punt it away. It will be the talented linebacker, Zach Greenwald, to do the punting. And back to receive is Breaker and Tunstall.
This is a football player. Zach Greenwald does everything for this team.
High snap. Greenwald handles, and did he get a piece of the ball? He did not. And we're going to have a roughing the punter. So Greenwald just gets it away, and the roughing the punter penalty will go against the Bulldogs.
That just went off the side of his foot. Good Coach Neely is calling for a tip. Let's see if he gets him here. See a little bit of a high snap. We talked about that with the wind. That may be a big factor. Nice job of Greenwald going up and getting it. Gets the punt up. There is, nope, didn't tip it.
Did not tip that football.
Like
John Ebert was
senior coming in.
Perpetrator who got in on Greenwald at the very least.
We're running into the kicker, which is a 5-yard penalty. It was accepted by Red. It'll be 4th down over again.
A little bit generous in the 5-yard call.
I think if you come in low, if you come in high and you didn't really get him that much, that's why you get the running in instead of roughing. Roughing is especially if you come in low.
I think what really hurts Paulsboro, frankly, is the size of Greenwald. You know, if someone who's a little bit smaller would probably take a little bit more brunt of the punishment. So Greenwald's leg was prone. Thought I'd see a personal foul, did not. But at the very least, it provides Paulsboro with an opportunity to get a better punt away. 48 plus remaining seconds in this first quarter. So again, Greenwald, another high snap, and gets a much better punt away. It's low, and Tunstall will watch it roll out of bounds just inside the 35-yard line. So with 41.7 seconds remaining, Glassboro will take over. They scored on their only possession on the 61-yard Breaker to James screen pass.
It's going to be important for Paulsboro to get off the field here. Not spend too much time and allowing Breaker and company to matriculate themselves downfield. But that's important for Paulsboro now to almost set a tone here, and they can do it defensively. You know, the Glassboro entire offensive front were new starters, but they don't look like new starters. These guys have come in here. You got guys like Matthew Sansa Jr. plays that left tackle to help anchor this team.
Breaker hands it off, and caught way behind the line of scrimmage is LaRonde Gaines. And right now, Paulsboro is just looking for someone to make a big play and kind of resurrect their momentum.
That was Corey Gilchrist on the tackle. I mean, he's a good one on that defensive line. We called his number a few times over the years. And Gilchrist just getting through that offensive line. You see that time coming down here. Looks like they may not get a playoff.
Second down and 13. Breaker again will work out of the shotgun, and he will simply watch the clock run out to end things in this first quarter. Well, this first quarter has been all Glassboro. Breaker scoring on a fumble recovery, and Breaker finding James for a long touchdown score. We head to break. The Bulldogs on top of Paulsboro, 14-0. Welcome back to Paulsboro High School. Glassboro on top of Paulsboro, 14-0. Rob Christ along with Shawn Leary. Start of the second quarter, and I think this Paulsboro crowd a little bit stunned right now, Shawn.
Yeah, you have to say that. I mean, come out down 14-0. I think a lot of people thought this game was, like you had said, going to be one of those thrillers. But so far, it doesn't look that way. Glassboro owning there. You see the offense, 74-66. Take away the big Gaines run, and Paulsboro hasn't done a whole lot offensively. That said, you have Hodges on your team. And this is a guy that can break a tackle and score a bunch of points in a hurry. So we saw it last week. Aaron Hayward didn't get off track for Pensgrove early on in that game, but they kept feeding him the football, and eventually he had a couple of huge gainers and a couple of touchdowns for Pensgrove against Woodbury. I think the same thought process has to come into here now with it, just keep things going, play good defense, and allow Hodges to work offensively, and you can get right back into this game.
Second down and 13. Breaker again working out of the shotgun. They'll roll to his right, and they'll tuck it underneath. Breaker. And he fumbles the football. Paulsboro on it. Sean McLean picks it up, and McLean hoping to turn the fortunes around for the Red Raiders. And Sean, no greater indication of how slick that football is than right there.
All right, it's a little bit of indecisiveness by Breaker here. And you almost with Paulsboro, you see him kind of holding that ball out there, not really protected. You're swinging it out too much. I mean, that's just poor handling of the football. You're swinging it out way too much. You get a little guy to come back on the backside and poke it out. And that's where, again, protecting the football becomes so important with teams, with defenses, as both Paulsboro and Glassboro has. Too much speed.
Two tight ends set. Gaines cut down after a pickup of about 3. And this is going to be a big series for both teams, Sean.
Yeah, I do believe they have to open up the offense a little bit more for the Paulsboro and just at least make Glassboro honest. Allow Hodges to throw the ball downfield. And I talked to Coach Nealia before the game, and he even mentioned that it looks like that Hodges looks more comfortable this year throwing the ball. Last year, sometimes he didn't really understand what was going on out there at times. But the one thing, this kid's got a big arm. I think you really need to keep Glassboro honest.
Hodges hands off, and again, between the tackles, Darren Carter will pick up a couple. That'll bring up a long third down. Should be 4-down territory here.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you allow Hodges to do when you drop back to pass, or maybe roll him out, is give him that option to run a little bit, and certainly operate with much more room.
He's a terrific open field runner, and he has great vision. He's going to be able to set up his blockers again, staying patient with the option to be able to throw downfield or pick up the first down himself by using his legs. Not a bad idea.
Third down for Hodges. Fakes the handoff. Hodges rolls, and now the screen pass set up. Gaines cuts it outside, down inside the 25-yard line, but he's going to be shy of the first down as he veered towards the sideline. A critical 4th down now for the Red Raiders.
I don't know if we're going to be able to see this, but watch what Gaines does here. He's going to make a one step back to the inside and freeze Scruggs. And that's going to allow him to get to the outside and pick up some positive yards. Scruggs reads this correctly. Watch number 55 here. Just drop back, get it out, and watch this one step. Back to the front, just freezes Scruggs just for a second. And now Scruggs is committed to going back to the inside, and Gaines jumps out. And it's a nice job of turning what looked like possibly be a loss on the play. He turns in for 3 or 4 yards.
And a timeout is called by the Red Raiders. They did not have the personnel or the play that they wanted. Glenn Howard comes out, and again, I can't emphasize enough, Sean, a very, very important series for these Red Raiders, because a stop here would really just continue the momentum of the Glassboro Bulldogs.
And looking at that quarterback sneak, I know this looks like about 2 yards, and typically you don't go with a quarterback sneak at this position of the field, but they might want to spread the offense out, open things up, open the linebackers up a little bit, and maybe just play a little power football. That play looks like it can work for 3 or 4 yards almost every single time.
There you see
Glassboro, the big dogs, huh?
The last 4 meetings, of course, including today, against this Paulsboro team. That 2005 game we mentioned was maybe the greatest game that we did as a pair, Sean, that coming in overtime. Glassboro so far has only had possession for 2 minutes and 36 seconds of this game. We'll see whether or not fatigue plays a role later in the game. But right now, a critical 4th down for Paulsboro as they have the ball just inside the 23-yard line. The 20 is where they need to be for the first. Hodges will hand it right up the middle and driving forward, and it looks like the spot is enough for the first down. So Darren Cotter, as they had a little bit of a bunch formation behind that offensive line, and the Red Raiders will continue this drive. So ball spotted just inside the 21st and 10, and again, Paulsboro very cautious with the football. The only time they've thrown the ball are little dump passes.
Yeah, they, again, probably protecting what they want to do with the football, and they know the velocity of the wind right now. It's very heavy wind, and I believe they think they can just run the football right at Glassboro and take it to them. It's not a bad idea. This is a team where you think you like your chances at the line of scrimmage.
And once again, Gutaski jumps offside as Paulsboro really hurt themselves on the other side of the field, Shawn, with that 5-yard penalty.
Dead ball, full start, 71 offense.
Rob, you watch a lot of college football, and guys who pick up penalties, especially on first down, it doesn't hurt the college team as much. But at the high school level, really, those type of penalties kill a drive. When you have two good teams, two good defenses, you get a penalty, it almost just completely ruins any type of thoughts you might have to score.
As you mentioned, particularly against a defense as good as Glassboro, it's tough enough gaining a first down, let alone a 15-yard journey for the first down. Hodges will work out of a 3-receiver set, and he will keep. Hodges sprints towards the outside. Hodges still on his feet and cut down at about the 18-yard line. So Hodges picks up about 7 or 8.
Boy, this guy's he's a specimen. I mean, he's so strong. You see him there. You see his guns that he's throwing at number 6 there. But how about the speed to get to the edge? I mean, he just combines that power with speed as gracefully as you're going to see from a big guy.
Well, again, they project him to be a defensive player come college, and some see him as a linebacker, some see him as a safety. Hodges again will keep right up the middle, dragging tacklers forward. And Hodges is now saying, jump on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And that's just what the Glassboro defense did.
I see him as a star. That's what I see him. I see him as a star in college. If he works. I mean, we've seen this and talked about this before. And even with coaches, well, watch this guy. I mean, just get behind his line. You get guys trying to drag him down by his shirt. He's going to carry another 3 or 4 extra yards and making up 2 plays where he makes up for mistakes by the offensive line jumping.
Scruggs dragged forward, but credit Scruggs for slowing Hodges down. Otherwise, Hodges may have been in the end zone. Again, out of the I formation, a handoff Carter. Carter bullying his way forward, and now a penalty flag. That's either a hold or a face mask.
But getting back to Hodges, Rob, you can have all the talent in the world at this level, but if you don't put the work in and become better, you won't succeed or maybe even see the field at the next level.
5-yard penalty on the
Watch his face mask here. Darren Carter, younger brother of Russell Carter, the kid who played here and went to Notre Dame for basketball.
Breaker getting a hold of the face mask inadvertently, and as a result, a 5-yard penalty will put Paulsboro inside the 10-yard line. So ball spotted at the 6, first and goal for the Red Raiders. 8:35 and counting remaining in this first half. Hodges going to the sideline for the play call. I formation, Greenwald in the backfield along with Carter. It's going to be Carter right up the middle. Carter still on his feet. Carter is down. Now, tremendous effort by Carter. And now shaken up on the play for Paulsboro is one of their linemen.
Yeah, that's Sakopu. Now watch Carter here. This is a kid who's got a great, I mean, talk about all the good backs here. This is a guy who's a good one. And he's trying to stretch that football out. Not able to get it over. You know what? You give yourself another chance. I hate when guys stretch that ball out sometimes because, that's where you see a lot of fumbles and stuff like that. And that's a spot. Look, you're at the 1-yard line. You have Hodges. I know you want the touchdown. I know that coaches will say try and stretch it out sometimes, but you know you want to be careful there with the football. If you're at the 1-yard line, well, you got Hodges behind you. You have a great chance of scoring. Don't take chances, especially against the team in this spot.
Second at the 1-yard line. Hodges will hand it off. Hodges, touchdown by Darren Carter. And the Red Raiders are on the scoreboard. After the fumble recovery by Sean McLean, the Red Raiders march right on down the field and now await the extra point.
It's Cope who's running that off now.
A critical extra point for the Red Raiders. And there seems to be some confusion out here. And it looks like this may be one of these set plays where they have the guy pretending to tie his shoe. They'll throw a quick out to him.
I think he's actually tying his shoe.
I kind of liked it because if they quickly snapped to him, throw it out there, there was nobody out there covering to him. And of course now a delay of game. That is the strangest thing I've ever seen.
You have delay a game on the offense, 5-yard penalty.
Well,
I honestly thought.
We saw this. Remember, he changes his shoe. Now, we've seen this, I believe, in the first game against Woodbury.
I mean, if they quickly snap that and throw it to him, that's a 2-point conversion. That's something that both coaches ought to put in their back pocket for next year. So on to attempt the point after. A good rush, and the kick is good. And there will also be a roughing the kicker penalty.
Well, you said roughing last time, and it was running into. You're going to make the same mistake again.
I just never learned.
No, you're dying for the roughing call.
We have a flag on the left side.
So we're awaiting the ruling on the field.
The personal foul, roughing the kicker.
It was rough.
Going to be assessed
How happy are
on
you?
the kickoff.
That's just Darren
15-yard
Carter going
penalty.
straight ahead. And again, we hear the wind blowing. It's blowing pretty good down there. But that's just playing power footballs. Paulsboro, I mean, they're just going to line up and they're going to run the ball right at you and force Glassboro to stop them.
I'm a little
How happy were
disappointed.
you?
I'm a
You were
little
so happy with
disappointed.
the roughing call.
Just a little disappointed you doubted me. Well, nonetheless, this will be a 15-yard penalty, so Paulsboro will have the opportunity to kick off at the 45-yard line of Glassboro. Now, again, this is an opportunity if Paulsboro wants to gamble a little bit. An onside kick, even if it is not recovered, would still be not great field position for the Bulldogs. We'll see whether or not they opt to do that. It will be Gerald Hodges who will kick it away. We have seen his success. Should he kick it away, this will certainly go out of the end zone.
I think he's going to boot it.
And he kicks it nice and high, and this will be taken as a touchback.
Let's take a look at that roughing call, roughing the kicker. Coming right in. It's well, the difference in that one is you go low for the, you get him low in the leg.
He got 2 for the price of 1 there.
Yeah. That was Courtney Gadsden, the senior, coming in.
So the penalties have certainly hurt Glassboro. Three penalties for 25 yards here already. And Glassboro. Davis will pick up 3 or 4, 7:30 remaining in this first half. And you can see the time of possession very lopsided. Glassboro, of course, scored before they even had possession of the football offensively. 2nd down and 6 now for the Bulldogs. 3 receivers set with 2 split right. That is Tunstall along with Davis. Breaker out of the shotgun, and he will keep. Breaker picks up maybe a yard. Looks like they'll give him forward progress to about the 26. Gilchrist on the tackle.
Hey, take a look at this here. Breaker just going to pull that ball back in, get a few yards, and again, collapsing down on that play is Gilchrist. We're going to mention his name a lot. You know, haven't talked much about this Glassboro offense, but they put up some big numbers this year with Davis and Tunstall. We talked about Tunstall in the open. He's a touchdown maker, a playmaker, 7 touchdowns through the air. But they need to try to get him involved, 3rd and short. They may look his way.
Breaker with time, throws it into the flat, tipped up, and again McLean. He has made a statement here defensively. McLean had an opportunity for another turnover and maybe another 6.
Yeah, he does a nice job. He's looking for Tunstall here. And Tunstall with a little bit of a curl route where he's just going to be able to try to get to the outside, and the ball tipped by McLean.
Something not right about that pattern as you had 2 Glassboro Bulldogs right next to each other. Hodges back to receive the first punt here for the Bulldogs. And this ball gets a good roll for Glassboro as they will down it at the 30-yard line. Flipper Anderson barely avoided the punter there.
So it looks like momentum has turned a bit. You can see here Tunstall trying to get the punt off. And again, you got to, if you're Tunstall, you might want to sell that a little bit better.
Absolutely.
Maybe at least fall down. To be honest with you, I hate that. I don't like when guys really fake the ball down. But that's about 35. I mean, you ought to think about it.
Let me think through this. I don't like it, but he should do it. First down. Hodges will hand off to Greenwald. Greenwald and cut down after a pickup of about 4 yards. And they're well versed on how to bring down Greenwald as they went quite low. Greenwald, the big guy, and he has been a force here. 6'1", 225 pounds. Last week, Woodbury went up 21-0. They ended up falling to Pennsgrove. Glassboro up early 14-0 here at Paulsboro. Hodges will hand it off, and again, it's going to be Carter right up the middle. And you can see now they're starting to tackle the football a little bit, Shawn.
Yeah, they're trying to go after it. They almost get it there. But right now, it's just getting behind center, get the ball to the fullback. You see Carter there really playing the halfback position, getting behind. Looked like Zach Greenwald played fullback there, and Carter picking up a lot of work. But you got so many guys you can bring in for this Paulsboro team. Going from Hodges, going from running back to quarterback, didn't hurt the running back position as much because you have so many guys you can fill in at that spot.
3 receivers split right and only 2 defenders on that side of the football. And ironically, it's Paulsboro that calls timeout. I think Paulsboro had them in a bit of a mismatch there. Don't know whether they had a pass play call, but nonetheless, you only had 2 defenders over there to mark 3 offensive receivers.
Yeah, I don't think they had 11 guys out on the field. I still don't think they have 11 guys, unless Coach Howard is going to. Maybe he's getting to the backfield.
Tell you, if he could strap him back on, I think I'd like their chances even better.
I agree with you. You count them out there. I count 10.
It's kind of bunched up there.
Yeah, it's kind of different. Well, let's count these wins. Yeah, big opening win against Shalleck, 48-0. And you had against Clayton, and then Gloucester. I mean, this is what they did against.
They're so good. The most points they gave up was against themselves.
I think that schedule's all messed up. I thought they started with Salem too, so.
Out of the eye, Hodges will hand off. Greenwald bounces off one tackler and still on his feet. Forward progress will earn him about 4 yards. And we're down to 4:35 left. Paulsboro would like nothing better than a nice, long, protracted drive here to eat up clock and maybe tie this football game.
In fact, I'm going to ask our viewers to forget they even looked at that schedule, because I don't think it was even close. They lost their score. They had them losing 51-0.
It's kind of like fantasy football, but a little bit different.
Yeah, just block that from your memory box. There was nothing right about that schedule.
Second down. Again, Hodges working out of the eye with Greenwald and Carter. Greenwald will get again. Greenwald still driving forward, and he'll pick up about 3. So third down and 3.
You see now how they've shifted. I mean, earlier it was Gaines, the little guy, getting some carries, but right now they have essentially what they've had is 2 fullbacks in there with Greenwald and then Carter jumping to that spot. And it's working pretty effectively for them. Right now they're just playing smash mouth and trying to wear down that Glassboro defense. And you got to credit the Paulsboro coaching staff with continuing with their game plan. They're coming in here just running the football, not getting down to panic.
Officials call timeout as Glassboro needed to tie his shoestring. Now, I don't know the rule here. Why would the officials call a timeout for them when he had to tie his shoe, but not for Paulsboro?
I don't know the rule.
Hodges keeps. Hodges drives forward, and he'll be shy of the first down. So decision time here, 4th down and inches for Paulsboro.
Maybe because the kicker actually changed his shoe. Maybe there's the difference. If
you think that's literally written in the rule book?
If you purposely take your shoe off, you're not awarded any timeout.
4th down and inches. And coming in with the play call will be Deshaun Davis. Wouldn't be surprised if I saw Hodges call his own name here. Greenwald with Carter in the backfield. 2:25 remaining. Hodges hands it off. Carter slips, and Carter will not make it. So a big stop for the Bulldogs.
Right, I mean, good penetration by the Glassboro line. And then nothing going there. As you see, Carter looked like he might have slipped when he tried to cut back.
That's why on that play, I think you go with Hodges. You let him, you cut down on the exchanges. You find the lineman that you like, whether it's the center or one of the guards, and you allow your big boy to go forward for a football's length.
I wholeheartedly agree. You know, again, when you're going, again, it's point A to B. If you go back and turn around, you're going backwards, away from where you want to pick up the first down, and you're allowing that penetration.
Well, again, this will be a critical series. Breaker, slant pattern, in and out of the hands of his receiver. That's Gadsden.
Yeah, he peeked. And he looked up. He looked at his defender, seeing where he was going to go, if he was going to get hit, and took his eyes off the football. That ball was perfectly placed. And you can see Breaker saying something right now to Gadsden. And you can see exactly what happened there. Senior looks up. Doesn't come down with the football. In fact, he gets a trip over to the sideline.
2nd down and 10. Of course, the incompletion stops the clock. 2:15 remaining. 2 receivers split left for the Bulldogs. And Breaker working out of the eye. And a lot of confusion here. Breaker flushed out of the pocket. Breaker, and he's punished behind the line of scrimmage. Greenwald. There's just a lot of confusion on that Glassboro offensive line, as the center may not have had the right snap count.
Let's take a look at this. It looked like a couple people knew what was happening, right? No one wasn't sure. And Breaker's even wondering, why did I have the football in my hands right now?
You could see the center there for Glassboro. That is Ron Anderson. When he snapped it, you could almost see like, I think I just messed up. And then he literally just stood there and allowed the Paulsboro team to come through. And a timeout is called by Glassboro.
Coach Neely are not happy right now. He's saying that he called a timeout and no one acknowledged it. Maybe some miscommunication.
So the referee out to talk to Herb Neely. There's Paulsboro's schedule. You can see
they didn't play themselves, so I think this one's safe.
They start out by defeating Haddon Heights 33-0. Don't forget, Haddon Heights is also playing to face one of these two teams in the championship game, and then things just continue to roll. They only gave up a high of 20 points against Lindenwold, and you see last week in the first round, they absolutely punished Pennsville.
Yeah, and defensively, I mean, you look at some of them scores. Again, this Paulsboro first team defense only allowed 2 touchdowns all year. Today, they've allowed the 1 touchdown, and the other one, the offensive fumble, counted for the other 7 points for Glassboro. So 3 touchdowns all year by this unit.
1:37 left, 3rd down and 13 for the Bulldogs. 2 receivers set. A little surprised that Glassboro called timeout here. Breaker, quick drop, throws it over the middle, hangs it up, and that will fall incomplete.
Looking for Danny Green, the senior, 6'2", 225. And he's another name that sounds familiar to most people. He's been playing for a few years for this Bulldog team. And Breaker lays it up here. A spot for the big 6'2" target to go up and get it.
There was a soft spot in the zone there, and I think that play call speaks to the confidence that they have in Breaker and this passing game.
You're right. I mean, he's able to throw through the wind, and he lobs it up there. But that's certainly a confidence in your quarterback to let him throw in this wind.
Punt away. That will bounce at the 24 and roll to about the 21. So Paulsboro will take control of the football with 1:23 remaining in this first half, trailing by 7. Glassboro started off this game with a turnover. Returned by the quarterback and safety Tim Breaker for a touchdown. Their first offensive series resulted in a 61-yard touchdown pass from Breaker to James. They went up 14-0, and Paulsboro subsequently scored to cut the lead in half. That's where we are with 1:23 remaining, 14-7. Paulsboro with 83 ticks of the clock and a lot of football field to tie this one before the break. Hodges, draw. And a big hole here. Carter, and again, you can see because the field is just so cold, literally frozen, that cutting in the open field has become a problem.
Yeah, difficult.
And that's the case where you see on the pro level, they start to change the cleats on the football players.
And Carter going again, you don't want to go east-west here. This is a team you can't do that against. I mean, Glassboro is going to be able to close on you. They just got great speed and can match yours. That's why going just straight ahead. I know you want to try to make the big play with 48 seconds left. You go east and west, that's where somebody from behind can strip the ball from.
We'll see if Hodges goes to the air here. 3 receivers set out of the eye. Hodges again will hand off, and again it's going to be Carter on the carry. He'll be very close to a first down. I believe he will have it. That will stop the clock at 29.8 seconds. And Paulsboro in no particular hurry to get this next play off. Little surprise, Sean.
No, I'm not. I mean, you look at what Paulsboro's offense and with the win today, it's not a team that's going to get down the field in a hurry. Now they can break one.
Hodges throws deep down the middle, and that falls well over the head of Darren Carter. And Hodges had a lot more time and probably could have thrown that a little later. Just have one of his receivers, particularly Willie Anderson, just do a go pattern there as you have one-on-one coverage. 11.1 seconds left. Hodges. No yards passing in this first half. 2nd and 10. Hodges will simply hand it off. It's going to be Carter. Carter will be cut down, and that will do it for this first half. Well, Paulsboro trailed 14 to nothing very quickly in this one. Came back to cut it in half, and that's where we are as we head to break. South Jersey Group 1 semifinals at Paulsboro High School. It's Glassboro on top by 7.
Guys! Fans are reminded if they leave at halftime, they will have to pay to come back.
Hey, let's go.
Welcome back to Paulsboro High School. Second half about to get underway. Glassboro on top of Paulsboro 14-7 in the South Jersey Group 1 semifinals. Have an opportunity to take a look at our halftime stats. And Shawn, one stat that is not on there is time of possession, which was absolutely huge. And I mention that because therein lies a big reason why the rushing yards are so one-sided. But I think another telling stat there is that except for one passing play from Glassboro, they really would not have had any passing yards, either team, on the day.
7:30.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they had the one play, I think, went for 76 yards. I think 77 total yards of 76 total yards. The one play, I think, went for 61 of those yards. So I mean, if you look at it, I mean, just on that one possession alone, I think it was 75 yards. This is a Paulsboro team that had a couple of mistakes in that first half that really hurt them. The fumble, and then just the poor tackling on the one screen pass. Other than that, Paulsboro played pretty well. The offensive and defensive lines played okay, and you can see again, time of possession, wearing down your opponent. We'll see if that comes into play here in the third and fourth quarters.
Now,
what goal would you like to defend?
Also the
Red will defend the scoreboard goal.
Play calling
White
there.
down here.
See, Paulsboro only opted to throw the ball 3 times, so
we'll receive
less than 10% of the time. And back to the graphic, a couple other key points. Each team with a turnover that resulted in a touchdown. And as importantly, each team with penalties that hurt them. Paulsboro offensively, a couple penalties kind of shot themselves in the foot. One they were able to overcome, but Glassboro also with a couple of critical penalties, and one coming inside the 10-yard line on the drive that had Paulsboro score.
You know, the offensive line for Paulsboro, before each game, they listened to Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight. Well, obviously, beside it being freezing cold and the wind's in the air tonight, you can feel like in the second half, Paulsboro could start to dominate the line of scrimmage and really put it through. But it's really going to stem off of what happens here on this first drive. If the defense comes out, and I believe stops Glassboro immediately on a 3-and-out, but the momentum can really shift into Paulsboro's favor, because that offensive line, again, with 13 minutes of time of possession and really wearing down the Glassboro defensive line, they could do some damage here in the second half with Carter and Hodges. But important to note that same thing as in the first half, must control the football and not make the mistakes there.
Well, Paulsboro, who received to start the first half, will now kick it away. Hodges will do the honors, and of course they will be kicking with the win. The second half is underway. Long line drive will find its way into the end zone, and Glassboro will have a long field. They'll take over at their 20-yard line.
The winner of the 50-50 from Paulsboro, Ernest Stevenson.
Glassboro started out red hot and cooled down considerably. We mentioned they jumped out to a 14-0 lead, and since that time, Paulsboro has certainly had the better of play.
Before we get into the game, I just want to thank Patty for her pecan pie at halftime. It's almost ode to Richie Ashburn there.
John Giovanetti, the PA announcer.
He had nothing to do with the pecan pie. At least I don't think he did. Well, I know Patty made it for us, so thank you, Patty.
Second down after a pickup of about 6.
And just think about that. For the rest of the people, you too can be mentioned on there if you just give us some food.
That's right. You know. Be a quick study. Make sure it's a large portion. Second down.
Pie's going to be hard to beat.
Breaker with the draw play, and Davis is cut down behind the line of scrimmage. So Paulsboro's come out here.
It looked like
some solid defense.
Here's a name that people will recognize. This is Nick Curl, the younger brother of Tom Curl, who had an amazing career, not only in football but in wrestling and track and field. Maybe the greatest all-around athlete that Gloucester County has ever seen.
That's heady stuff. And just if you were to say that being here at Paulsboro. Now again, they're calling timeout because of a untied shoe.
Because you look at what Tom Curl did. I mean, he was an all-state first-team defensive or offensive lineman, won a state title in wrestling, and I believe was the Group 1 state championship champion in the shop. That's an impressive resume.
That is impressive. You see big Nick Curl.
2-time state
6'3",
champion.
270-pound sophomore. Still Curl now a police officer in Westville. Third down for the Bulldogs. Breaker. Deep drop. Now flushed out of the pocket. Throws. Has a man underneath. And it's caught by Tunstall for the first down.
That's a heck of a pass by Breaker. Nice job of laying it out there. Nice route by Tunstall. See him come in motion here. Give the tap and watch him set his back foot here and just throw the football with some authority. You're going to need to get through this wind. Really throwing almost into the wind in this play as it's kind of going right out there. But good strong throw.
Frankly, you can't play that soft on someone as talented as Tunstall. 1st and 10 Bulldogs. The handoff, and Davis again is met before the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Sweet Feet didn't have any place to run there. And Davis is a kid who's had a terrific season, but just nowhere to run. See, Sweet Feet. I'm making it up.
Second down. They gave him forward progress back to the line of scrimmage. 10 to go. Clock continues to move. We're in the third quarter. Rob Trist along with Shawn Leary here at Paulsboro High School. South Jersey Group 1 semifinals between arguably the two top teams in Group 1. The handoff and into the secondary. Still driving forward on his feet. Tremendous second effort and finally cut down as P.J. James. James has been a force.
James wants to go into medicine after school and gives Paulsboro a dose of their own medicine. Being able to just go right through the teeth of the defense. Nice footwork by him. Setting up the blockers. Does a nice job of cutting. Watch him work out of that tackle. Keeps his feet. Good strong run. And that's just excellent effort. Excellent effort by the sophomore. He's had a pretty good game. Had the touchdown on the long pass play, the screen play in the first half.
First down and 10. Again, the handoff, a little stutter step, and Davis will pick up about 5.
I haven't talked about these guys much of the night, but Anthony Ellis does a great job there. The junior offensive tackle, 6 foot, 291 pounds. A nice block on that play. Again, think about what Glassboro's done. I mean, they had their entire offensive line, aside from Danian Green, graduate last year. And to be able to come back with a unit that had no experience on the varsity level, at least starting, and come into the season, they've done a remarkable job, and a lot goes out. And the credit to the assistant coaches for Glassboro.
2nd and 5, the handoff out of the I formation and stretching forward should be enough for the first down. Christopher Baxter with his first carry of the afternoon.
Carter on the play, but here just straight ahead running from Baxter again. Offensive line getting a good push.
They spot the ball shy of the 40-yard line, so it looked like Baxter may have had it. He did not. And 3rd and inches for the Bulldogs. And they're putting together one of their longer drives of the afternoon. I mentioned before they had the ball very, very little in that first half. 3 receivers set for Breaker. Breaker will keep, and he will not get the first down.
Depends on who gives him the spot. No, I don't think he has it. It's going to bring up a 4th down. I think he had a bad spot. I think his forward momentum. Might have been past the 40-yard line when he initially went to his left. And Paulsboro backed him up. But
this is an interesting call for Herb Nealio and the Bulldogs. Of course, only inches to go, but you shorten up the field for the Red Raiders. And again, this is the opportunity for a big momentum swing if you are the Paulsboro defense. Clock continues to move. Paulsboro has had possession, or excuse me, Glassboro has had possession throughout this second half. We are 6 minutes in. 4th down and inches. 3 running backs for Breaker. Hands off inside, and that should be enough for the first down. It looked like the running back was Bell.
yeah, it looked like Joshua Bell. Good effort by him. The initial contact was behind the line of scrimmage, but he keeps his feet moving. Watch Bell here, number 8, just going to really push himself and will himself forward here. After the initial contact, he's just going to drive those legs, almost turn his body. Nice job by the senior. A nice drive for Glassboro coming out here with 5:40 left in the 3rd quarter. And this is what the Bulldogs needed. They haven't had a drive like this, although they had the 14 points on the board.
Handoff and slipped up on the play. Glassboro's Baxter.
Yeah, he tripped up. And this is him. I don't know if he saw something and tried to cut it back. See, the snap wasn't that great from going back to Breaker, and nothing doing. It looked like he just tried to cut it back upfield.
Shawn, in this 3rd quarter, Glassboro has had possession of the football now 7 minutes and counting in the entire first half. They only had it for 5:11.
A lot had to do with what Paulsboro was doing offensively to control the ball, but really Glassboro did not run the ball nearly as effective as they are right now.
Handoff again, and pickup of about 3 or 4. So a long 3rd down now for Glassboro. And Breaker, you may see him go to the air.
Yeah, and this is where defensive ends have to really contain, try to get upfield, because you have to think with the pass rush that Paulsboro can place on Glassboro, they might try to roll Breaker out.
Critical 3rd down for the Red Raiders. Once again, ball spotted at their 36-yard line. 3rd down and about 6.5.
This is another spot where they really miss Kevin Johnson, a terrific defensive corner. We haven't talked about much about him, but
out of the eye, Breaker. Breaker flushed out of the pocket now with some room, throws it underneath and misses his receiver. Gets hit after just releasing the football. And we'll see whether they go for it or just try to pin Paulsboro deep in their own end. What do you like here, Shawn?
This is a tough call because you're not going to get much on a punt if you kick it out of bounds. This is going to be, Tunstall's going to have to do a nice job here with pinning Paulsboro back. And this is where a spot for Paulsboro. You have to be careful. You don't want to rough the punter or run into the punter. But again, this is where I said to apply the pressure if I was Paulsboro.
I like the call from Nealio, punting it and making the
field longer. You got to watch the fake as well here. This is spot of
the Red Raiders. Hodges back to receive the punt, and it's off the side of his foot. It's returned off the side of his foot. The Red Raiders, Childress on his way, and finally knocked out at the 20-yard line. So Nealio did everything right, and yet everything went so wrong.
Talked about applying pressure. Glassboro has been put in this situation. You account for the win as well. And it just gets in the head a little bit of Tunstall. The ball's off the side of his foot. Yeah, that's the spot where he probably wanted to kick it to the sidelines and pin him back. And Paulsboro with a big play on special teams. How many times do we say that over the years? In a big spot, the Paulsboro special teams makes a huge play, giving him perfect position to tie this game.
Willie Anderson was leading Childress. Had he just stopped and trailed him, that one block would have freed Childress for a touchdown. And Greenwald, that play was almost a fumble as tremendous pressure and infiltration by the Bulldog defense.
They're getting a good jump off of the ball. We saw that at the end of the half. And again, being predictable, you know, you've had a lot of success running the football up the middle of the field, but you need to also keep Glassboro guessing.
A little over 3 minutes now remaining in this third quarter. It's been a very fast third quarter. Hodges with Greenwald and trips left. Hodges, quarterback draw, and Hodges will go nowhere.
See, in that play right there, you want to freeze the linebackers in the secondary. You have the trips to the left. You have the quarterback drop back to pass, but if you immediately look down and don't even have any type of presence where you may throw the ball, it really doesn't freeze any linebackers. They're going to come up. They see that they're going to make that play. The only thing that might get in your view is the lineman, and you have problems seeing Hodges. Well, Hodges is a big guy. It's tough to miss him back there and what he's doing.
Again, out of the I formation. Hodges keeps, rolls, getting flushed out. Hodges, we're going to have a penalty here. Thrown into the end zone, tipped up, and in and out of the hands of Anderson. But I think we're going to have a hold coming against the Red Raiders, and that is the preliminary indication.
They'll probably decline this and make it 4th and about 12, 4th and 11.
Holding on the offense, 54. It's declined, 4th down.
So 4th down. The hold, Destrade Pearson again actually pointing out the perpetrators today, which is atypical of high school football. 2:16 remaining in this third quarter, and it is now 4th down. Hodges working out of the I. He rolls and is getting pressure. Now bides some time. Hodges throws it in the end zone, has a man, but misses his open wide receiver, Amir Love. Well, Hodges can do so much and is always so creative. Here you see, creates time and space, but misses Amir Love, who was wide open in the end zone.
I asked Coach Nealio, does this remind you of anybody that you might have on your sideline? And of course, not in pads, but you have Sakeen Wright as an assistant coach who did just that type, those type of plays for Glassboro in the late 90s and early 2000s, where Sakeen Wright was able to buy time because of his speed, but also being able to shed tacklers. But the problem that Hodges has sometimes is being able to throw on the run. No success that time.
Handoff, pickup of maybe 2. Not much there. And again on that botched punt, 1 block away, Shawn, from a tie game. And it's just so critical when you're facing a defense as good as Glassboro to execute on every opportunity that you have.
You're exactly right, and that just goes to show you not being able to quit on the play. Who's going back? We saw it last week. Same thing here. It's just you go back and you make a play and you negate a touchdown, even though you had the block punt.
Tunstall in motion for Breaker. Breaker hands off and now cutting back again. Good footwork, still on his feet. It's Davis, and he'll have enough for the 1st down.
What an outstanding job of just staying on his feet was Davis. Looked like he was going to be caught, but behind the line of scrimmage, Look here, you know, he almost slips down. You have a couple of guys falling to his feet and a couple guys slipping down. It looks like even on the Paulsboro defensive side of the ball.
Get a little pick play from the referee there. He's still a little shaken up. He's walking around gingerly. So it was tough for him. The back judge there, stay out of the way. First down and 10. Inside of a minute remaining, and the handoff will go nowhere.
Yeah, you can't have a little guy in that spot, in that back judge. He needs to have his protein during the week, because chances are you're going to.
You also need to make sure you're paid up on your insurance. Inside of 30 seconds remain. It's on the ground. This would likely be the last play of the third quarter. A very, very fast-moving third quarter. Again, Tunstall split right. Out of the eye, two tight ends. The pitch. Stringing it outside and getting absolutely nowhere is Laronde Gaines. And that'll do it here for the third quarter. Well, no scoring in that third quarter. 1 quarter remaining in the South Jersey Group 1 semifinal. Glassboro on top by 7. Welcome back, fourth quarter. Breaker flushed out of the pocket. Breaker bides time. He's hit as he throws. It's up in the air and caught. It is caught by Gaines. Gaines inside the 20-yard line. Touchdown, Glassboro.
Great effort by Breaker to buy time in the backfield, and then an outstanding play by Laronde Gaines in the middle of the field, just going up. Man, sometimes you make plays and then sometimes luck will happen and you combine the two of them. That's exactly what happened. A little bit of luck, a little bit of skill to be able to come up with the ball, and then running away was Laronde Gaines from the rest of the pack.
On to attempt the point after. It's Dobson. His kick is up, and his kick is good. 21-7 now. It's been the Tim Breaker show. Breaker gets rid of this. A 62-yard hookup to Gaines, his earlier pass completion for a touchdown, 61 yards. Here he is hit just as he releases it, and a mistimed jump by the defense results in the touchdown.
And how about the effort by Gaines at the end of this? And he cuts it back in and up the field, and he's got the speed to be able to run away from the secondary. And I mean, you look at the two plays. First, the offensive line doing it just enough to be able to buy some time for Breaker. And everything that would break right on that play for Glassboro did.
5 plays, 79 yards, and Paulsboro will need to score 2 touchdowns in order to get back in this. First half, Glassboro, with just 5 minutes and 11 seconds, they had that now doubled in just the third quarter.
You look at the discrepancy there. Now Paulsboro, they can't have one of these 8-minute drives. They're going to need to try and score and give themselves enough time defensively to stop Glassboro, because Glassboro has found a rhythm on the offensive side of the ball.
Now, you can say literally that this crowd has gone silent. Sitting here stunned in the first half as Glassboro came out and scored 14 quick points. And now what amounted to a desperation pass results in a touchdown.
Hey, see, these are little things right here. You see Dobson's going to set up. They put Hodges onto the left side because they feel how the ball is going to come down, even though he does a nice job of kicking it to the right side.
Hodges taken down at the 24-yard line. So Paulsboro will have a long field. And remember, they will be working into the wind.
Yeah, a little cat and mouse there on that kickoff, trying to kick away from Hodges. was Glassboro, placing the tee here. Dobson kind of looking where Hodges would set up. That time he chose to kick almost right into the wind, coming left to right, as opposed to going towards Hodges on the right side of the field.
Well, we mentioned 11:40 remaining in this fourth quarter. Still a lot of football to be played. Glassboro by 14. The handoff, it's Carter. And he's into the secondary. Carter will be knocked out of bounds after a big pickup.
They pick up the first down, stop the clock. There's still 11:33, Rob. Plenty of time. I know that right now you can see this Glassboro crowd completely silenced. You have the other sideline of Glassboro there. You see 9 carries for 23 yards for Hodges. The Glassboro, all of them standing up, really into the football game. There's plenty of time left for Paulsboro to mount a drive here.
Hodges, quick drop, throws it, has a man wide open. It's Love. Love on his way to the end zone. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown! 63 yards. We've had touchdowns of 61, 62, and 63 yards. Hodges to Love.
Yeah, it looks like that's Willie Anderson who caught that.
That was Anderson. Willie Anderson, who caught the touchdown last week.
And again, you're seeing Casey Grimes changing his shoe. Well, you don't see him, but you can trust me that he's changing his shoe. Very important extra point coming up.
21-13 awaiting the point after. The snap. The kick is blocked. It is blocked. That is now 21-13, so Paulsboro will have to go for 2 to tie this one up. Again, Willie Anderson, the recipient of that 63-yard touchdown reception.
Yeah, he does a nice job of getting off the line. And how about the throw by Hodges? Laid in there perfectly. You see him drop, toss, and this thing is on the money. Right in stride. That is perfectly thrown by Hodges. And a nice job for Anderson to run away with it. But it was really done at the line of scrimmage. A good move off the line. Able to get past the corner. And you know that right now, Coach Nealio and the coaching staff for Glassboro has to be beside themselves. You cannot allow, with a 14-point lead, you cannot allow a wide receiver to get behind.
That 9 looked like a 5. Love was the person Hodges missed on the other side, but it was Anderson. And Anderson utilizing that speed, horse-collared right at the goal line, and his momentum takes him in for the score. 11:22 remaining in this fourth quarter. And the offense is starting to turn on the jets for both of these teams. Hodges will kick it into the wind. And back is Gaines along with Christopher Baxter. Hodges' kick is high, and it's short, very short, and it is taken inside the 30-yard line. And now a penalty flag is thrown down the sideline. Hodges wrestles the return man down, but this play will come back on the holding penalty against Glassboro.
Little Khalil Adams, all 5'3", 125 pounds of him. Finds the ball in his hands, tries to get to the outside, and nice job by Hodges tracking him down, but not before the hold allows them to get to the outside. That's going to back Glassboro probably around their own 20. Little meet and greet right now. between the guys in stripes.
We had 2 live ball fouls, a block in the back, on the run back, a face mask here. We're going to do it all over again.
So that play essentially did not happen.
We didn't see that. You didn't see that.
Here's the extra point attempt.
Yeah. Now this could be a huge play in the outcome of who gets into the final there. Look at the push up the middle. That looked like that was Christian James, the brother of one P.J. James, which is Paul. We call him PJ because
he came right up the middle, so someone missed a blocking assignment there, and that could cost them. Obviously, Hodges again will kick it away from the 40, and now Gaines and Baxter will move up a little bit. As you saw, that ball literally dying in this wind. The wind is as strong as it was when we started this game. Hodges again will kick it away off the side of his foot. This is not a good one.
Glassboro's going to get the ball at the 41. You know, the ruling is you can get the ball at the 35 if it's kicked out of bounds. But since it was kicked out of bounds, it looks like the 41 and a half or 41. Glassboro will get the ball there instead of the 35.
It's a 20-yard difference as a result of the penalty. $11-12 left. 21-13. Your score. Glassboro has led throughout. 14-0, then 14-7.
There was a procedure penalty. The ball was kicked out of bounds by Red. White has chosen to take the ball where it went out of bounds on the 39-yard, 41-yard line.
Ball spattered at the 41, 1st and 10 for the Bulldogs. They've had success today through the air. Breaker will hand it off, and not a whole lot there for Gaines.
Yeah, it looked like Maurice Lee came up, the senior, or excuse me, junior, 6 foot, 205 pounds, knifing through that offensive line. Watch him here, number 20. This is the way you tackle. Grab onto the guy, throw both you and him down to the ground. That's a nice job by Maurice Lee. 5-2 defense for Paulsboro, really predicated on how well the linebackers play. Maurice Lee and Zach Greenwald. That is a very, very strong duo.
2nd down out of the eye. Breaker with 2 receivers set will hand it off to Gaines once again. And Gaines is game tackled after about a 2-yard gain. 3rd down. Now remember, to get ahead of myself here, Sean, but the Glassboro punting game has struggled. They have almost had one blocked and one wasn't blocked, but it went sideways into the arms of Childress. So this is a big stop for Paulsboro.
Well, I'm going to call out my executive producer who's from Glassboro, Stan Ritter, who I said, you know, a big part of today's game could be getting to the punter for Glassboro. And he laughed at me. He laughed at me. But you know, when you don't do it as much, and now you're forced into this situation and win.
4 receivers set, fumble. Breaker falls on the ball, now getting some pressure. Still on his feet, Breaker going forward. And finally wrestled down from behind. And this is something you literally rarely see at Paulsboro, where there are breaks that they don't quickly take advantage of it.
Well, you know why they're not taking advantage of it, and I got to call them out. A lot of guys are standing around watching, and I don't understand why. I mean, you got some guys coming up trying to make some plays, but it's like they're almost afraid that somebody's going to go somewhere. I mean, look at that. It's you guys running into each other, and the effort there. Finally, Grimes comes up and makes a play. You had a couple guys just kind of standing around.
Here's the punt. It's a good one. High. Hodges going back, and he watches it roll out of bounds. That's a tremendous punt by Glassboro.
See, another position where the punter makes a difference. That's an outstanding punt that downs them deep into their own territory at the 10.
As you see, 9:01 left, a lot of football to be played, and a lot of green to go forward for the Red Raiders.
And I don't want to say, I probably said the wrong thing. They're not really standing around. What they're doing is they're so concerned with being able to contain Breaker that they get caught kind of standing still.
43-yard punt, and you can see how the wind really helped that along, not only forward, but angling it towards the sidelines. Hodges working out of the eye, and he'll be sacked. Great penetration by the Bulldogs, and Danon Green with the tackle.
They're Green along with Gary Scruggs, the junior, 6 foot, 239 pounds. G-Rock's just going to come right up the middle, jump on the back, get the sack.
We get a good look at Scruggs, all 239 yards of him.
239 yards of him?
Or, excuse me, pounds of him. He's not that tall. Second down and long. Carter in the backfield. Quick hitter across the middle. Nice pass. And that is complete to Grimes.
And see, I mean, this is where Hodges is at his best. Is when he the 3-step and throw. And we saw that earlier with the terrific pass along the sideline. And that time he gets it to Grimes, who's over the middle of the field. And nice arm strength, nice touch on both of those passes, and it gives him a manageable third down.
This is where when you're playing ball on the street and you huddle up again and you go, okay, same thing. Third down. We'll call it 4. Fake to Carter. Hodges. And Hodges is cut down and sacked.
That's, again, I just don't like that play call in there because what we've seen from him today, I mean, it's pretty apparent. He's terrific when he's just able to just stop and throw the football. When you roll him out, although it gives him the option to pass, he doesn't feel comfortable in that spot. We've seen him struggle a little bit there. And that spot, I know you want to give him the chance to possibly run, but you're saying the same thing, it's not a bad idea.
So Greenwald in punt formation. And again, they're working against the wind here. High punt. And that will bounce and be down at about the 38-yard line. As Amir Love.
How big was the punt by Tunstall? That was a terrific punt down and inside the 10-yard line. That backs Paulsboro up. The confidence isn't there when you're next to your own goal line. And it just goes to show you, Glassboro feels like it can come a little bit harder. They can take a little bit more chances because you got them pinned back. And now you have the ball in a perfect spot of the field with 6:35 left if you're a Glassboro fan.
Well, obviously, if you are the Bulldogs, you want to keep the ball on the ground and put together at least a couple first downs here.
And also, your focus has to be there if you're Timmy Breaker. Make sure your handoffs are completely there.
Handoff inside, and again, absolutely nothing doing for Joshua Bell.
Now, you can play field position. What Bell does there is he wraps up the football. The one thing you don't want to do is change the momentum and the complexion of the field position by handing it back over to Paulsboro. So more importantly than even getting a first down, he's just milking that clock a little bit, holding on to the football and securing it and allow the play to happen.
Glassboro will take its time as we approach the 6-minute mark. 2nd down and 10.
This is where you call on and say, who's our best ball handler? I mean, who's a guy that can really wrap it up and you want to put it in his hands.
Breaker working out of the shotgun again, a 4-receiver set. Breaker and a quarterback draw. Breaker strings it outside, and he's knocked out of bounds. No, ruled to be inbounds.
He does a nice job of just trying to slide down before he gets to the sideline. Keeps the clock running out with 5:37.
3rd down and 6 as the ball spotted at the 35-yard line. And again, a long 3rd down for the Bulldogs. Breaker has been successful through the air. That's been the story. Breaker with 2 long touchdown passes, 61 and 62 yards. Ball spotted at the 35. 2 receivers. split wide. Breaker again, quick drop across the middle, and it's caught. He finds Gadsden, and that's enough for the first down.
What a gutsy call by Glassboro coaching staff. Allow Breaker to make a play with his arm. Nice job of getting it to Gadsden. Holding on to the football. Gadsden's Uncle Zeke was a big-time player for Pitt.
I remember him, actually. First down and 10. Again out of the eye. 4:35 and counting. Draw play. Davis right through the middle. Davis cuts against the grain. Davis angles, spins, and slung down at the 5.
See the frustration by Hodges right now. There's a flag down, though.
That's going to go against Glassboro.
That's big, because you're in a spot there where maybe Dobson can maybe boot one through it at least. When you see a big run up the middle, trying to spin away from Hodges, this play's going to come back.
That's a spot foul.
Blocking it back on the offense. First down.
Still Glassboro in good position here. It's going to be 1st and 5.
And the clock continues to move. 4:20 and counting in this 4th quarter. Glassboro in control, 21-13. First down and 5 for the Bulldogs. Breaker. They'll work under center, out of the eye. And the handoff goes nowhere. B.J. James.
Got to mention Paulsboro. Might be thinking about some timeouts here.
Well, we're down to 3:35 left. And Glassboro again with 2nd down here, eating up large chunks of clock. Twins right for Breaker.
Yeah, you're going to get a delay of game.
Delay a game.
Dead ball. Delay a game. Offense.
And frankly, that's a bad penalty against Glassboro.
Yeah, it is.
Obviously, you want to eat up the clock, but now not only are you making it difficult to make the first down, but you're taking yourself out of field goal range. So again, this Paulsboro defense has been on the line, both literally and figuratively, throughout the afternoon. They'll need a couple big stops here. 2nd down and 10.
Remember, it was 1st and 5, too. That's another reason why it's a bad penalty. Now you back yourself up 2nd and 10. Paulsboro can see its way off the field.
Breaker pitches. It's Davis. Davis. And Davis fumbles the ball out of bounds. So that, too, will stop the clock. And 4th down now. Once again, it's decision time.
That's 3rd down.
Excuse me, 3rd down.
You get 3rd and about 9. Again, stops the clock here with 3:10 left. Be interesting to see if they put Breaker in the shotgun. Remember, had that low snap. Might not even chance it. You just put him under center. And that's what they're going to do. I think it's a good decision by Glassboro to go in the eye here.
Wings right for Breaker. Breaker will hand it off to Davis. Davis with the football. Davis driving forward, very close to a first down.
It might have got away with the hold. Looked like on Zach Greenwald. Glassboro might have got away with one. It's going to be real close.
And frankly, surprised Paulsboro has not called a timeout here. Clock continues to move. 4th down and very short.
It's going to be the ball game here. In this situation before, Glassboro just went with Timmy Breaker. Right behind the left guard.
4th down, about half a yard. Breaker has James and Davis in the backfield. One receiver split right to pitch. It's Davis. Davis, stutter step. Davis, and a holding penalty.
This will come back. That's a good call. Right now, Hernelio is beside himself. But they got away with one before that, and that's a good call. You can see him get turned.
And that's
they called it a chop line. I thought he hooked him.
You can see Neilio quite animated with his displeasure. Lock below the waist. Number 12, offense. Repeat 4th down.
A little surprised here. They're still, again, pitching the football in this spot, but you already have confidence in your quarterback, so they try to get the ball to the outside. It looks like the play's going to work for him. You get the block below the waist. Didn't see it right there.
So timeout called here by Glassboro. 2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in regulation. This is going to be the end of one of these teams' playoff lives for 2008. And right now, it is Glassboro in control. Well, Paulsboro, of course, in their annual rivalry game will be at West Deptford, and we'll have it for you on Comcast. That will be an excellent game. 2 of the top teams in all of South Jersey will face off once again. Always a spirited affair, and 2 of the top coaches squaring off as well.
Right, you talking about the Colonial Conference. That is the cream right there playing against each other. And you're right. Forget Colonial. Forget around in the Gloucester County area. These are 2 of the best teams and programs in South Jersey.
Fourth down, and you have to think they're going to punt it here. Ball at the 30-yard line. Now, remember last year they did a fake punt. So keep your eye on that. But they're going to line up. And Breaker under center. Emilio not pleased with what transpired previously. Breaker now with the football. Breaker getting hit and a fumble. Ball's on the ground. It will not matter as Paulsboro will take over.
Yeah, I don't know if you don't have the confidence in your punting unit. You're afraid the snap might hurt you, and you'd rather go for it there, turn it over in that position. If that's the thinking, I don't have as much of a problem with it. But certainly, when you're taking a gamble here, there's a possibility of this happening as well. On 4th down where you get a fumble and it goes the other way. So with the chance of what Tunstall did is punting, I think I might have punted the ball away. Nonetheless, it doesn't hurt him at this point. Now it's just your defense has to do the job here if you're the Bulldogs. They got a minute 55 to win this game and get into the Group 1 final.
Hodges again with 2 receivers working out of the eye. Greenwald and Carter behind him. Hodges draw play. Carter. And he is knocked out of bounds, I believe.
No, he didn't get out.
That he's in bounds. So Darren Carter, and now a timeout called by Paulsboro.
Minute 45.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, you see Carter here. Nice little delay by him as he allows the blockers kind of set it up. Good step. Boop, right there. Get to your outside. Instead of going for the sideline. Doesn't make it. I don't know if you're going to get anything there. Maybe Carter might have had a better effort trying to get to the sideline and save the timeout. A nice pickup of 6 yards. They're going to need some pretty big plays. Remember, you saw Anderson already streak down the sideline and beat his man for a touchdown. And it gives Hodges, again, an option to pass or run when things break down. However, I still like Hodges where he's able to get the 3-step and release.
Of course, don't forget that if Paulsboro does score a touchdown, they will still have to convert the 2-point conversion There you see Glenn Howard, who has been in charge of this program for some time, and if you would argue, one of the best coaches in the state of New Jersey. Second down for the Red Raiders. Three receiver set. Hodges flushed out of the pocket. Hodges in trouble. Fakes again. Hodges again. Another fake. Still on his feet. Angling. And he'll have enough. A late hit. And now a late hit. That's going to go against Bell, I believe. So another 15 yards as Hodges got crunched out of bounds and ended up hitting another player from Glassboro on the sideline. So big penalty here.
There's sometimes where you go and you just say, I can't believe what my guy just did. And you're out of bounds. You can't touch Hodges. You can't touch Hodges. And to throw your arms out and push him. Watch at the end of this play. This is going to cost your team 15 yards.
Dead ball.
Now here he's in the
personal
outside.
foul
And you get
on the defense. 15-yard
you get a
penalty.
bonehead move there
First down.
by giving your team another 15 yards.
Anthony Ellis, number 72, also gave him a little bit of a shove there.
Yeah, well, that's who it was. That's who the penalty's on. The penalty's on the kid who's out of bounds. I'm not going to mention his name, but it is who it is. You just cost your team 15 yards.
First down and 10 now. Paulsboro sensing momentum at the 44-yard line of Glassboro. A minute 35 remaining. Three receiver set for Hodges. The wind continues to blow. Hodges now back, flushed out of the pocket. Hodges, and he's hit from behind. A big sack made by Christian James.
Let's go back to this. Now again, you're out of bounds. Now you're going to get the guy now. It's a little bit of a late hit, but right there. There you get the push from the guy who's not even in the game.
And here's Anderson. Anderson unable to get out of bounds, and now a timeout will be called, I believe, by Paulsboro.
Timeout, Red.
So they are back to midfield, still well behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and Hodges, you have to do a better job also at the quarterback spot, where in the play before you get sacked. You have a certain amount of time. I know you can buy as much time as you can. When you feel that pressure, just get rid of it. Unload it, get it toward the sideline, throw it out of bounds. And you got 3 more plays to pick up the 10 yards. You lose the 5 or 6, and now you're in a real bad spot. 3rd and 16, 17 against this defense is not pretty.
Well, they tried the little dump pass, which was a good idea. Did not pick up much. And now, as you mentioned, you're going to have to pick up some big chunks here with a minute 3 left. They're fighting not only the Glassboro defense, but of course the clock.
Kind of thought it would come down to this. They need a chance for either one of these teams to either win or tie the game late.
Hodges will work out of the shotgun. Paulsboro just 2 for 7 on 3rd down. Hodges with time, throws it up across the middle, and it falls incomplete. Mere Love.
Yeah, he just looked like he quit on the pattern. Looked like he was expecting somebody to either hit him or pick it off. The ball looked like it wasn't a bad ball. You can see here Love kind of slow up on the pattern and almost picked off.
So 4th down for Paulsboro with 57 seconds left. The crowd rising to their feet. Glassboro can sense the victory. Hodges out of the shotgun, 4 receivers. Hodges with time, now flushed out. Hodges will have to throw the ball. He does, down the sideline, and it throws it out of bounds. And that will likely do it for Paulsboro with 48 seconds remaining. The crowd to their feet will now exit the bleachers, and Glassboro, with what many would consider an upset, despite them being the defending Group 1 champions.
Highest likely. Coming out of the Classic Division was Glassboro, not tested through the year. They paced Glassboro, or Gloucester last week in the quarterfinal game, 34-0. And give credit, what an outstanding job. And give credit to the offensive line for Glassboro. An entire new unit comes in, and they're going to get to the Group 1 final with a chance to defend.
Well, you know, we mentioned coming into this game, these were two evenly matched teams, but it is always so difficult, Shawn, to win a football game here as an opposing team. This Paulsboro crowd and just the tradition that pours out of this very stadium. Quite a win for this Glassboro football team, and of course they will go on and be a decisive favorite next week in the championship game.
You know, Ron Anderson, Anthony Ellis, Matt Sands, Nalin Toppy, Ron Anderson, I think I already mentioned him, and Gary Scruggs, Daniel Green, the guys on the offensive line. My hat goes off to them because they just coming in as a whole new unit. And coming in here and beating Glassboro on the road, well, that's outstanding.
So this will likely be the last play with 45.8, perhaps 2 more plays. But Glassboro can take a knee and simply run this clock out as Paulsboro is now out of timeouts. And this Paulsboro crowd will go home very disappointed. They started slowly and simply could not catch up against this fine Glassboro defense. 14 quick points in the first quarter, and Glassboro is on its way.
And I'll tell you what, also, Rob, thinking about it, I mean, if we said at the beginning of the game, as hard as the wind was blowing, that the passing game for Glassboro would really account for the offense and the touchdowns in this game, we probably wouldn't have believed it, right? I mean, the wind was blowing good enough. I didn't think anybody was going to be able to get anything done through the air.
And that'll do it. You see Glassboro's Tim Breaker leading the celebration. And he had himself quite a game involved in all 3 scores. Glassboro victorious over Paulsboro in the South Jersey Group 1 semifinal, 21-13. Stick around, post-game interviews, and a wrap in just a moment.
Welcome back to Paulsboro High School. Glassboro victorious 21-13 in the South Jersey Group 1 semifinals. Coach, this is 2 teams that many people argued that should frankly be in the championship game. Another classic game. You guys have become rivals despite the fact that you are in separate conferences. Let's talk about that first quarter. Had to be surprised jumping out so quickly to a 14-0 lead.
Well, it's good to get that quick one. You know, you can play on this field. It's great to get points any way you can. We struggle in the past sometimes scoring out here, but we got a quick one, and let the kids play defense.
Of course, here with head coach Herb Neeleon. Coach, this defense is oftentimes overlooked, but, frankly, this Glassboro defense is one of the best in South Jersey. What are the keys to the success of this vaunted defense?
Well, the kids play tough. They play sound. I think everybody does their job. We replaced a lot of the kids up front, but the secondary, linebackers and the kids up front are new, but the secondary's been playing back here for a number of years, But everybody did an excellent job. They work hard, play sound.
In that first half, you only had about 5 minutes of time of possession. When you went to the half, was that something that you discussed, the fact that you needed to hold on to the football, maybe eat up a little bit more clock?
Yeah, we talked about it, and we went over in the locker room. The assistant coaches, we were talking about it. I think we ran 10 or 11 plays and scored on 1. So, that percentages aren't that bad, but you just want to run more plays, we did a better job second half. We decided to come out, run the ball, try to control the clock.
Now, the last time we had you at Glassboro, you took on Pennsgrove. The word is that you'll be taking them on once again. Of course, last time they did not have Aaron Hayward. You know, obviously, this is a team that has a tremendous amount of confidence. You do in Glassboro, and rightfully so, the defending South Jersey Group 1 champions. You know, looking ahead to that game, you know, what stands out to you?
Well, first game was you know, the score was big at the end, but it wasn't, you know, it was a close game. It was tight in the first half. The kids come out and played a good second half. It's a very good football team. They're physical. Obviously, you know, with Hayward back now, it gives them another weapon. They played an excellent game last week against Woodbury. You know, put a lot of points on the scoreboard the second half.
Well, again, Coach, I wish you the best of luck next week. Congratulations on this fine win. Our own Shawn Leary has a couple of the participants.
We're going to start off with Dane and Green. Now, I've been getting your name wrong, so I want to apologize to you for the last 3 or 4 years. But Dane, take me back to last year. You guys are defending champions, you win, and then all of a sudden you have to be thinking, wait a second, I'm going to be the only starting returning offensive lineman. How did you guys materialize into becoming into a state Group 1 final appearance after losing everybody?
So hard, so hard. We made that dedication in that weight room, got everybody on the field at the practice workouts. Just got chemistry, and we learned how to play together.
How difficult is that to lose an entire offensive unit on the line and be able to come out and win as many games as you? That's pretty remarkable.
It's nearly impossible. All our chemistry is going. We got to learn how to play together.
Did you feel like you had to take a leadership role in there, and how did you take that leadership role?
I definitely did. I was always the youngest person on the line, and now I'm the oldest, so I had to lead my line and tell them what I learned from the other years and the older guys.
How's it feel to be Paulsboro?
Wonderful. On their field is great.
Congratulations to you. Be trying to defend again as well. Good luck to you. And also here with Laronde Gaines, who makes a remarkable catch over the middle of the field. You know, we looked out here, the wind was blowing as big as it was. We didn't think we were going to have that much of an effect in the passing game. But what a nice job of you coming up and making a big play. Did you come and think at all that Timmy was going to be able to have a decent day throwing it?
Nah, I thought we was going to run the whole time. Our coach during warm-ups, he said, you feel this wing because we're going to be running all day. So I didn't think we was going to pass at all.
Take me through the touchdown. You go out for a pattern. What type of pattern was it, and how'd you come up with the ball?
It's supposed to be double seam. Me and Dana, and he was on the other side. We're supposed to do double seam down the middle of the field, but I saw Timmy rolling to the right in the safety bell as soon as I started taking off the field, so I just cut across the field, and he just threw it to me.
Instincts makes you go cut up back up into the field. When you score that touchdown, what are you thinking in your head?
I was tired. Yeah, I was real tired, but I was glad I scored.
What's this mean to you guys to come in and defend and get a chance to defend and beat Paulsboro on its field?
That's the best feeling all day, all year. That's like winning the Super Bowl because they was talking a lot of stuff, and like I just take that as motivation. I don't talk or nothing like that. And my cousin's the running back on the other side, and like he don't talk stuff, but he tries to calm his teammates down talking stuff. But it was all good.
Well, I know your other cousin, Shamar, or your cousin or brother?
That's my cousin. Your
cousin, Shamar, made this trip down here to preserve a championship for Glassboro. Now you guys have a chance to do it again. Congratulations to you. Best of luck next week against Pennsgrove. Well, it looked like the Gaines. I mean, they're having the Gaines. You've always heard the Gaines. Gaines, Graves. I mean, that's like Glassboro names. And another Gaines comes through in a big way for Glassboro. What a job Timmy Breaker did making a couple of plays, Rob, where, you know, we didn't think, I know you're shaking over here, so we'll try to make this quick. But we didn't think that the passing game was really going to be effective. But what a nice job. The offensive line, again, I cannot give enough credit to those guys and Coach Nealio for getting them prepared and ready to play in a season where they had to replace the whole unit.
Well, Timmy Breaker sets the tone, picks up that football, runs it in. They're on top 7-0. A couple big pass plays, 61 and 62 yards. It's been a Breaker day. Next week they go look ahead, play a Pennsgrove team that they frankly handled relatively easily. I know that Herb Nealio had said it was relatively close. It was in the first half, but despite that, Glassboro pretty much had the best of play throughout. They have to feel very confident going into next week. Of course, the one variable is Aaron Hayward is back, and Hayward, of course, is, you know, one of the top talents in all of South Jersey. Let's talk a little bit about Paulsboro. Again, another tremendous season by the Red Raiders.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they're going to have some parts to replace, including Gerald Hodges, but it's going to be interesting to see, you know, some of these guys coming back and the roles. You look at Lee and Greenwald coming back, and these are some pretty talented linebackers. This Paulsboro team, again, they don't rebuild until they just retool. And they got to get ready for West Deptford. I mean, that game is maybe not as meaningful as a group championship, but it's right there. And to have a game against them, they just need to forget about what happened here today and try to beat the Eagles.
Well, a reminder, we'll have that for you right here on Comcast, that game at West Deptford between, again, traditionally two of the top teams in all of South Jersey. Once again, the final score here from Paulsboro High School. It was Glassboro defeating the Red Raiders 21-13 in the South Jersey Group 1 semifinals. For my partner Shawn Leary, my director Stan Ritter, our crew who did just an extraordinary job given the weather conditions, I'm Rob Chris. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everybody.